Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That's Eric over there.
Hello.
That's Vanessa over there.
Hello.
I'm Kelly. Hey guys, I just wanted to say that over the last couple of weeks, I have gotten a ton of personal messages and texts and stuff from people who reached out after our 200th show. Some of them to say, hey Kelly, sorry to hear you're going through depression. I've done, I've had that myself. And so I've done this to get through it and things like that. I think that's really nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I also had a ton of people who were telling me their Meyers-Briggs personality types. And let me just tell you this, you guys. I didn't care much about that. I thought it'd be a fun show. I don't remember what I am. So these people going, I'm an INTJ. I'm like, I'm an HIJK. I don't remember what I am, and I don't care. I put all that stuff just a notch above zodiac signs, which is to say, I don't buy it. But I thought
At
it was
least you have
really
to answer
nice.
some questions
Yes.
compared to a zodiac sign.
Instead of just being
True.
born into one of 12 types.
Yeah.
But I thought it was just really nice to get those kind of reactions to that. So
That's
thank you so
cool.
much to
Definitely.
everybody who reached out to me.
Yeah, and apparently screw you to the people who want to share their own personal information with
Yeah.
Kelly.
Well, who the fuck do you think you are?
He doesn't actually care about you. He doesn't
I've-
even care about us.
I've got a life, you guys. I will just say that Carlos,
Okay.
our buddy Carlos, came
Yes.
up. He took care of my depression in the way that only he could, which was to make fun of me. And and when
Lovely.
I told him that I was really going through something, he said, "Describe this depression to me."
Oh my
and
gosh.
I said, I really don't know how to do that. And he was like, "Okay, it doesn't exist." Uh,
Yeah, that's not how it works, but I'm glad it helped you.
Tough love is what I would call that. It made me feel a little better. I went and hung out with him last night. He barbecued me up some nice meat. And then at the end of the night, he gave me his Zune.
Oh my God.
How many does that make for you now?
That makes 6, but this is the first time I've had one of the tiny 8 gig ones that
Oh.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
trying to get it to work. It plugs in fine, but it doesn't seem to be taking a charge very well. But
Oh.
Carlos, I'm going to turn that into my private podcast Zune only. So
Ooh.
yeah, pretty good time over here, you guys.
Wow. Oh, but I'm so glad that, dude took you for some good dude time and got you a dude Zune.
Yeah, it was good dude time. And then after that, we bought tickets for Air Supply coming up on Valentine's Day.
Oh
So,
my God.
yeah.
Wait, where's Carlos's wife gonna be?
Well, who knows how that's going to work out. But the two of us just can't fight this feeling any longer. Wait, that's
Very.
REO Speedwagon. Never mind.
That's
You
all
know-
right. You've seen him a lot too, so you can tell him, how the show works.
Yeah, I actually fought him when he was saying he was buying the tickets. I said, Carlos, I made a promise to myself the last time I saw Air Supply that this was the last time I was going to see Air Supply. But here I go again on my own.
Oh my God.
Wait a second. That's
Nope,
White Snake.
nope, still missing.
Listen, you know what I did see that didn't put a smile on my face?
Uh-oh.
Smile.
Oh,
Yay,
still haven't
someone else
seen
didn't
it.
love it. I'm so happy.
I'm listening to these people who do love it, and I want to just throttle them and say, what movie did you watch?
Creature was good. Other than that, lots of issues.
I thought the last 20 minutes, was pretty solid, but
Sure.
man, it was a fucking slog to get to it.
Yes, and it doesn't make any sense, and it's so over dramatic at every turn. She is the worst therapist I've seen in my entire goddamn life. Every person she meets,
And
she
you've seen a
totally-
lot.
I know. Every person she meets, she trips over her talking to them, and they get pissed and they start screaming at her every single time. I'm like, you're an awful, you cannot read people at all.
Well, that's the tough love therapy you're just talking about.
Exactly. She and Carlos get along just fine. Yeah, I thought it was a real bummer. The smiling, I guess I wanted it to be creepier. If they had just augmented that a little bit with
Sure.
CGI to make it look
Mm.
inhuman,
Right.
I think that would have been cooler because at some point it does turn very inhuman.
Mhm.
Uh, I don't know. This falls into that fucking what was I calling it? The procedural horror where you
Yeah.
have to go and research a bunch of shit to
Oh,
find out about
yeah.
your horror. I'm like, I just don't like these kind of movies.
Yeah, and there's a thing that really bugs me that happens in this, and I don't know. I mean, it's been out long enough that I think I can say
Go
this
ahead. I
one
don't care.
thing.
I haven't seen it, but I don't care.
Okay, well, that makes me feel better. When the creature at the end starts to become different versions of itself, at one point, first of all, it doesn't become something that she's just afraid of. It seems to just become Buffalo Bill. And I feel like it's really transphobic until it becomes the actual creature. It's just like a tall dude running around in tights in like women's underwear.
Is
I was
that
like, that's
is
not,
that what you got out of it? I mean,
yeah.
tall dude is like 12 feet
Yeah,
tall.
but still.
Slender Man.
I mean, like, not quite, but it's like, it's just a cross dresser.
I didn't get that at all. That was supposed to be her mom,
But
a
like
monstrous version of her
but they
mom.
made her, I know, but the mom became just a man.
I think it was just an ugly chick.
No,
It's a man, baby.
I don't know. I was really like getting a lot of very heavy Buffalo Bill vibes, and I was like, this is fucked, you guys. Like, if the thing she's afraid of is like a man wearing women's clothing, I don't know. But I don't know. That's what I got out of it.
Wow. Well, you know what? Easy to spot a yellow car when you're thinking about a yellow car.
Oh my
Just
God. I
saying.
was not thinking about a yellow car at all. And also, the music at the end. Anyway, it's fine. Whatever.
Eric, can't wait for you to see this.
Yes. This falls into that weird, like I had a bunch of, when I posted on that 100 Days thing that I'd seen Sinister, and some people are responding like, how could you have not seen this yet? I'm going, there are films that once they come out, I get this gut feeling about. It's like, I don't
Yeah.
need to see this.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's how before Smile, the ads were so cool and that weird shit they did for baseball. I
Right.
was like, wow, this looks cool. Then it came out and I'm going, I don't think I need to see this.
Yeah.
So I'll see it eventually just because that's how it works.
Sure. Yeah.
I'll watch any crap.
I
But-
literally saw it because I wanted to go to the movie theater.
I'm hoping you went to the movie theater this weekend.
I have not yet because they were all sold out.
Oh, okay. So nobody's going to talk about Wakanda Forever?
Mm-mm.
But
Next week.
yeah, somebody will have seen it.
You mean the
Maybe.
week after next
Yes,
week?
just say a couple episodes probably.
In 3
Anyways,
weeks from now, we'll totally talk about
My-
Wakanda Forever.
my
right.
Marvel burnout seems to be kind of real now, and I'm just like, oh, I'll see it. It's going to come to HBO Max or not HBO Max, but
Disney
Disney
Plus.
Channel, and I'll see it. But the driving urge, oh man, the new Avengers is open. Let's go see it now. Is just gone.
I watched a little chunk of when they introduced Namor. I always used to think he was Prince Namor, but Namor, and he speaks in English with a Spanish accent. And I'm like, I can't wait to see how they explain this.
Okay. So you haven't seen that?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, then I don't feel quite so bad. However, I've seen a lot of stuff since last we talked. It's going to be hard to choose amongst them, but I guess I can do a little bit of Halloween catch up. So I saw Wendell and Wild.
Tell us more.
Yes.
Yeah, so this was a little Netflix movie produced by / co-written with Jordan Peele, and also the guy who was in charge of Coraline, and I think he did Box Trolls and a few other things.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
see this one.
And it's really interesting seeing this film because, first of all, it's awesome. It's a stop motion claymation style, but I think it's actually animated. Has incredible art design, like unreal art design, just insane stuff of
Nice.
Nightmares meets Cthulhu meets, like, I mean, it's just nonstop beautiful and harrowing, and also a really cool, interesting story about growing up Black. The thing that I walked away with this was, oh, Tim Burton is really not the biggest part of what made Nightmare Before Christmas.
Right. Yeah. That's funny you mentioned that because I just read an article from the director of that
Yeah.
saying how, you know what? I'm at a bar all the time. I'm tired of saying is that people not believing that I directed that movie.
Yeah. Yeah, like I didn't realize how much of that like horror gothic comes from this person because it is just like seething with it and it's all unique and interesting and new and obviously from their brain versus Tim Burton stuff which feels somehow
Tim
repetitive.
Burton, yeah, he's got a thing.
He's got a thing. So I don't know. It was incredibly cool. But I will say it's definitely aimed at young adults. So you know your mileage may vary. You might not get as much out of it because it's not aimed at an adult audience. It's aimed at someone who is not you. So
Cool.
I'm looking very much forward to this. We were talking earlier, and this is written by Clay McLeod Chapman, and Strange Eons magazine published Clay McLeod Chapman twice. First time we did that Late Bloomer
Oh yeah.
story, and then the last one was just a couple issues before the last issue. So he really sunk the ship.
nice. Well, I hope he goes on to continue to.
Ouch.
I don't know what sunk the ship means. Hold on. I think I missed
Well, would you
something.
think it's a good thing?
No.
If you're in the fighter pilots or something, it might be.
That's a good point.
If you have a submarine, then yes. It's a very good thing. You know how to do your basic job.
Anyway,
Eric, did you see anything?
I don't know if we want to break this down piecemeal, but I have now watched all of the Cabinet of Curiosities.
Okay, cool. So have I. Yes.
Assuming you have to.
I'm like 2 behind, but they were the 2 that I think everybody hated, so I was kind of blowing them off.
Oh, okay. They were just like random too,
Yeah.
not the ending
Oh,
too.
that's it. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I just watched them in order.
Yeah.
The my favorite one was the autopsy.
Really strong.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
Disturbing and grim.
Yeah.
I thought the one with the birds was interesting. Decent
Oh,
acted the
yeah.
haunted. I mean, the very, very standard
Sure.
haunting house story
Right.
that was
Yeah.
bringing nothing new to the table, but was interesting at least.
The graveyard rats you didn't love?
I thought it was fine. The problem was I did watch them in order, and episode 1 and 2
Yeah.
are essentially the same story. A loser guy has got himself in trouble and has to work his way out of it. And I think if I'd watched it the other way around, I would have liked it more because his personality was at least really interesting and fun.
Yeah.
And the rat ending was great.
Yeah.
But about 10 minutes into, I'm going, well, I just watched this story.
Right. Yeah, and I still do think the very first one was by far the poorest because as I felt like, oh, I gotta eat my words later because as I was watching them, I was like, oh, this one was really good and that one was really good. And what did you think about the very last one?
That
one's-
was the one with the birds.
Oh, I guess I'm thinking of the second to last one, the one by the guy who did Mandy.
Oh,
Or it's the eccentric rich person with.
I'll say this about the entire series. Every single one of these would have been benefited by trimming 10 to 30 minutes off of every
Easily.
single one.
Oh, sure.
And that one I was so completely into.
Yeah.
I thought it was amazing and weird and wild. And about 45 minutes into, I'm kind of like,
Why are we still sat at this like
Can we
round spot?
do something? No, I almost wish they would have sat in that room
Uh-huh.
and just done stories the whole way
Oh,
instead of
interesting.
doing the other thing. But I love the way that guy shoots things and does things, and it looked and performances were great. But
yeah, the acting was
ag-
incredible.
again, 10 minutes off of that one would have been great.
Yeah.
And of course, the love and outpouring from the Lovecraft community for the 2 Lovecraft shorts.
I gotta say, like I said before, I appreciated the different things they tried with these 2 stories. I would have much more appreciated them just taking stories that hadn't been done before already.
Yeah.
But it is kind of odd that in a series that had 2 Lovecraft adaptations, there were 2 other stories that were far more Lovecraftian.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
With
Completely.
Well,
the
the one we were just
autopsies and the
talking about.
graveyard rats. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Graveyard Rats was much more. It was Dreams in the Witch House, and what was the other one?
Pickman's model.
Pickman's model, which I thought was fine. I thought that was an interesting take on Pickman's model.
Yeah,
I mean, again, 30 minutes shorter.
absolutely.
Um,
I kept wondering why they felt the need to have an hour-long,
yeah,
to
Time
stick to
slot.
an hour-long time slot on
Yeah.
a streaming
Yeah.
service.
there's no
It
reason
was
to.
kind of weird.
Learn from the Mandalorian.
Or Stranger Things or whatever,
Yeah.
let it
Yeah.
let it be however long it needs to be.
The Dreams in the Witch House was rough though. I'm like going, oh man.
Yeah, I didn't like that one that much. It was kind of boring.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But overall, the other weird aspect is Del Toro is no Alfred Hitchcock, man. Wow, his intros were. There's nothing to them. It's
No.
basically walking in, going, "Well, we're doing a story tonight, directed by this person," and then leaving.
He says like a little funny rhyme at the start of each one, and like it has nothing to do with what you're about to see.
Exactly.
I was like, what is that? Okay. Like, oh, that one would have fit really well with the last one. All right.
Well, the one thing I thought was really cool wasn't each figure he put down a
Yes.
figure of the director?
That was the cool
that
I
was
was
part.
really
like,
cool.
man, if I had directed one of these, I'd be begging to get my little figure.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
All the props in that opening were great. The cabinet and all that stuff were really cool. It's just like,
Yeah.
can you give me something that feels like you're not just collecting a paycheck?
Yeah.
I do want to mention, I know I said I was really hesitant to see the one by the person who did A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. But it was actually really good.
Which one did she do?
She did the plastic surgery or not plastic surgery, the cream obsessed women.
That was one that I really felt needed that 20 to
Oh
30
no, it
minute
needed
trim.
way shorter, but
'Cause
the
that is-
design in it was gorgeous.
The design was great, but that story is so
Yeah.
definitely
Prolonged.
predictable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was maybe my least favorite of the bunch. And that's what I think
Yeah.
is so interesting about this is everybody
Mhm.
has way different
Yeah.
favorites. in
Except
this
for
series.
Autopsy. Most everybody seems to at least like
Yeah.
the Autopsy
I
one.
think that has a lot to do with the mood and the
Yeah.
acting
Yes.
was
definitely.
so strong in that.
And you know, there's always something joyful about getting to see somebody who actually stands a chance against the creature. There were
Yeah,
so
man.
many of the other ones where people are just like, meh, I guess I suck and I'm gonna die. And this one felt like you can really engage with it when it's like, okay, they can fight back.
I watched, and Eric, I don't know if you know this is back, but the 4th season of Titans is on now.
Oh, I thought you gave up on Titans in season 3.
Yeah, well, here I am again
Okay.
on my own.
God.
I loved the first 2 episodes. I think
Okay.
we're 3 episodes in. The 3rd episode then stumbled again, and I was like, "Oh, no. Come on, guys. So close." I'll tell you what I do like about it. I love that they are not afraid to delve into supernatural stuff with their superheroes. And I think that's a neat and unique thing that only Titans is really doing is superheroes in horror situations. So I'm digging that part of it. The acting is really bad
Oh,
sometimes.
wow. Yeah.
Oh, almost all the time, actually. Except for from the guy who plays Nightwing, who's pretty solid.
Mm.
So I don't know. I'll stick with it. I'm just going to grumble about it the whole time. I'll tell
Okay.
you, it really pissed me off when they killed Hawk and
Oh, yeah.
took Dove out. I was like, these were the 2 most interesting characters.
Yeah. I stopped watching maybe 2 episodes after that, I think, or a couple episodes, and they popped up again going, to watch now, I'd probably have to go back and watch the rest of season 3. Oh, Doom Patrol. I haven't watched that yet.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, oh, a new Bruno Mattei box set.
Even better.
Well, another Halloween one that I watched that I didn't get a chance to talk about as of yet was I had bought and saved for Halloween night WNUF Halloween Special 2.
Right.
Ah.
Yes. Yeah. So
Weren't you- was this the one you were involved in?
yeah, this is
Okay.
one
Mhm.
where like I donated and was then got a roll. So she's pizza, isn't it?
Nice.
So that was fun, and it's pretty early on too. One of the commercial segments for basically like a critter style movie. I didn't know what it was because I was just against a green screen. I will say, unfortunately, it just doesn't quite have the magic for me as the first one did.
Well, I think the first one's fine, but
Yeah.
if you stumbled across and kind of discovered that, not knowing what it was,
Right.
that has got to be great.
Yes,
Sure.
that's exactly how it was for me. It was I had no idea what I was about to see, and I was like, "Oh my god, they're recreating this feeling and this style and these things, and it makes me really nostalgic and whatever." And then this one is like they don't quite know what they're doing in the same way. Like it doesn't feel as firm, and it's set later. It's in the 90s, and it's following like a talk show host who basically lost her job and ends up as a reporter, and then there's a science fiction element that happens. But I don't know.
It's not directly linked to the first one. It's just another thing in
There
that
are
style.
links in there, but you don't need to have seen the first one to appreciate the second. There's like characters that reappear. There's nods. There's a little snippets that do replay from the hosts of that show are back at one point for like a moment. So yeah, it was
That's too bad, but
yeah.
it's still fun. I hope
It was
for
still
you.
fun. It was still fun. There was plenty to enjoy within it.
Good.
So.
And your part, I hope, was fun.
And my part was
Yeah.
great.
Of
How can
course.
people see you in this? Where is it?
I think you can buy it on the internet somewhere on his own private store. I don't think you
Oh, okay.
can stream it as of yet. So I think you still have to purchase it. Like because I donated money,
Kickstarter
I
kind of
got like
thing.
a whole big box full of stuff from it. And also one of our listeners is in it. Micah donated money, and he is a
Oh.
picture of a full of himself author. He's near the end, so
Nice.
Nice.
Well, I saw the ones I know Kelly was looking forward to me watching, Clerks 3.
oh yeah.
And I will say, overall, I enjoyed it a lot.
Oh good. Okay.
But the parts where were the best were the characters he's established 30 years ago. And these two new dorks he introduced that were the religious
Right.
people were absolutely exhausting. And in it way too much. Like, yeah, your yoga hoser inventions of characters is continued in these two. And they were such a vital part of the movie and absolutely unnecessary. So I was like, But most of the stuff with the two original guys, and it was fun to see that they actually got the guy who had the Pringles
Right.
can on his hand, who's there like in a wheelchair or something, but they got him. But so that aspect was fun.
I really could have done without the movie.
I love how it went from you enjoyed it, but had problems with it to now you hate it completely.
Oh, if I told you I enjoyed it,
You did.
I thought I was joking when I said that.
I don't think so. Didn't sound like it at
Let's
least.
play the tape back, Vanessa, and see exactly. I thought I said that it was sanctimonious and his usual bullshit.
Yeah, you said that too.
Well, that doesn't sound like I enjoyed it very much at all, but what a great segue, though.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Because at one point, Danny Williford had told me that he was going to see Clerks 3, and Kevin Smith was introducing it and doing questions. He actually said that if he got called up for a question, he was going to say my name was Kelly, or his name was Kelly Young, and that I was his biggest fan. But I believe that we have a call on the hotline,
Oh my God.
on the Strange Eons Radio hotline, which is, of course, 253-237-4266. And it is, in fact, Danny.
Hey guys, it is a pleasure and an honor to call. I appreciate the time that you've taken to set all of this up, and by all means, use my message on the radio. I call with some trepidation because as you approach greatness, you find words fleeing from you. And over the last 200 episodes, 4+ years, I have found myself continually educated, entertained, and vexed at times with the show. I usually listen the first time in my car, the second time at my desk, and I have people on my commute who know I'm insane because I'm yelling at the radio. But thank you, thank you, thank you. Kelly, thank you for leading this. Eric, thank you for being the guy with all the strangest stuff, most of it not in English. And Vanessa, thank you for always bringing the full thing no matter what. Thank you, guys. Keep it up. Can't wait for episode 400. Have a good night.
Episode 400. Oh, God.
4 more years. 4 more years.
Our doctorate in podcasting.
But
We'll be
not in
president
math,
by
because
then.
it would be 8 years before we get to 400, right?
Because we're at 200.
Well, 8 years total, 4 years from
4 more years.
episode
I see.
200.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I was talking about me when I said no doctorate. And listen,
There you
I'm
go.
not a
Math.
a methologist. Okay.
A mathy type person.
Anyhow, let's just concentrate. What was important there was Danny saying how close he was to greatness.
Yeah, there you go.
So
He must have been like sitting at the tomb of the unknown soldier or some great historical figure.
this must have been while he was just about ready to go talk to Kevin Smith in person
Oh,
or
there you go.
something. Oh, God.
Wow.
Danny, love you. Can't say it enough. And thanks for all your support. We
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Again, if you want to call and leave us a
much.
message, Carlos, it is 253-237-4266. And let us know on the air if we can use your message on the air like we just did.
Yeah,
All right.
Jamie.
How about we take a little break? And when we come back, we're talking about something I still haven't quite figured out what I'm going to call.
Please pass Kraft cheese macaroni. He knows it's Kraft macaroni and cheese. The name's all backwards. She thinks the cheese should come before the macaroni. Well, it's the cheese sauce that makes it taste so good.
Kraft macaroni and cheese dinner, made with genuine Kraft cheddar. What could taste better?
I called the Kraft company today. You did? Are they going to change the name, Annie? They said they'd think about it.
Kraft cheese and macaroni.
We have returned. You guys, this was kind of my choice, and I still don't know what to call it, but the idea was that it was kind of sitting around the table because we're in the Thanksgiving month. So you've got the family or you've got your friends or, I heard a quote that I really liked the other day. It's not, what's not important is the family you have. What's important is the family you make.
Mhm.
What do you think of that?
I think that's
Sure,
great.
sure.
I think that's great too.
Yeah, you guys we're around a table. We're family.
There you go.
November.
All right. Vanessa's trying to hug me and I'm feeling very uncomfortable. So get back over there.
I'm nowhere near you.
With this subgenre in mind, I chose from 1989, Society.
Beverly Hills is known as a society of wealth and privilege, but Billy Whitney doesn't seem to be getting his share. He thinks everyone is out to get him, even his friends.
You never were one of us.
He thinks that he doesn't belong.
And they don't even look like me. Why are you guys doing this to me, huh?
He believes he's seeing things, bad things, beyond reality. Is it just his imagination?
I'm not paranoid. All my fears are real.
Or has Billy uncovered something terrible, something unspeakable?
Don't go home, Billy.
What, you've been living with these people all your life and you didn't know anything about this?
If you don't follow the rules, Billy, bad things happen.
You know, you'll make such a great contribution to society.
Who are you?
And now Billy
It's showtime, Billy!
is fighting for more than just his sanity. He's fighting for his life. The time is coming for Billy to take his place. In society, it's all about fitting in.
I just saw this in a theater.
So did I. Kind of.
Oh.
I've put 10 minutes on the board and I'm going to tell you all about it. A budget of $2 million, no box office information. Rotten Tomatoes critics have it at 62% and the audience has it at 52%. Making his directing debut with this is Brian Usna, who would also go on to do Bride of Reanimator and Beyond Reanimator, as well as Return of the Living Dead 3, which I've spoken about on this podcast, and also Silent Night, Deadly Night 4. Mhm. It was written by Zeph Daniel and Rick Fry, who are apparently Usna writing partners. They both wrote on Bride of Reanimator. Fry wrote Dementia for Usna, and Zeph wrote Silent Night, Deadly Night 4, and something called The Quantum Devil. I don't know what that is, but I like that title.
Yeah.
Starring Billy Warlock. What a great name.
Yes.
He should have been either a wrestler or a gunslinger, I think. But 38 credits, including Panic in the Skies, Steel Sharks, The Thing Below, and 462 episodes of Days of Our Lives.
Oh.
Evan Richards, who has 24 credits, mostly 80s and 90s TV, including the series Down and Out in Beverly Hills, and 2 seasons of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures, that animated show, where he was Bill S. Preston, Esquire. It also stars Devin DeVasquez, 17 credits. She was a Playboy Playmate of the Month in June of 85, and her birthday is June 25th, making her super cool. She's been in House 2, The Second Story, which I've talked about on this podcast. Can't Buy Me Love, Toxic Avenger 4, Citizen Toxie, and has 2 movies in pre-production right now as we speak.
Wow.
Yeah, I would not have expected that.
No.
Okay, you guys have both seen Society.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this opens with Bill Whitney, who's our protagonist, at his therapist. He's talking about the weird issues he has with his family. They're upper high class society, and he talks about how he doesn't really trust them or feel like they're his real family. It's all very late 80s, early 90s therapist gobbledygook shit. And it's just like, no, right. We meet his family, whom all seem to be pretty horrible people. And we also meet his sister's boyfriend, who is not handling the breakup with his sister very well. But it turns out it might be different than we think. He's like stopping by the house and trying to get Bill to let him in and things like that. He actually sneaks into the house at one point, and you're kind of like, weird. But well, because he's hiding in her closet.
Sure, gotcha.
And watching her get dressed and everything. Only there's a little twist towards the end of this movie.
Yeah.
So the ex-boyfriend gives Bill a cassette tape of his sister and the rest of his family engaged in what must be some kind of epic orgy or something. And although Bill is horrified, he gives the tape to his therapist. But when the therapist plays it back for Bill the next day, it's not the tape that he was given. It's like his sister's graduation party or something. So Bill is now like, I don't think I can trust my therapist either. We start getting these Stepford Wife type vibes and Rosemary's Baby type vibes and stuff like that. It feels very much like everybody's in on this. There is a pretty fun beach scene with hot dudes and dudettes in bikinis and shit because 1989 losers, right? When movies were cool. Bill meets this smoking hot chick, and this is clearly the girl he's supposed to be with because she seems to actually like him for who he is, unlike his own girlfriend, who is obsessed with climbing the social ladder and being popular, invited to the most important parties and all of that stuff. Of course, his current girlfriend is very pretty in a Buffy kind of way, big 1989 hair, blonde. She's very peppy and all of this stuff. And the girl that he's just met, dark hair, so you know she can't be trusted. And
or she's smart.
Right.
Yeah.
So from here, the movie takes off into some pretty weird fucking territory, but really it is just a film about classes and how they interact with the basic story of the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, with a little bit of cannibalism thrown in. And then something far, far worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll just say shunting and leave it at that.
Yes.
This is definitely a body horror film. So if you don't dig that, I would avoid at all costs.
Oh,
There is a ton of humor, all pitch black. There's some really bad special effects followed by amazing special effects by Screaming Mad George, who's kind of this cult FX guy from Japan who took the name George to stand out from the other students in Japan, but then took the name Screaming Mad George to stand out from all the other Georges when he came to America. He did the effects for Big Trouble in Little China, Predator, and Dream Warriors before this movie. So I like this movie. I don't think it's a great movie. The message is a bit on the nose. The body horror elevates it quite a bit. The acting is really bad in some scenes and quite good in others. So I guess you'd call that uneven.
Sure.
But it is fun. It's very weird. Crypticon put this on as one of their what was
Flicks from the Crypt.
Flicks from the Crypt. Yeah. So this was on the big screen a couple weeks ago. I was supposed to see that. Brian and Gwen from the H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival came up, and I just grabbed them as soon as the credits started, and we went around the corner and drank the entire time. So,
wow. Way to support.
Yes, I paid for my ticket.
Yeah, okay, that's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
That's
And
good.
also, he drove all the way down to Renton. And if you know the area and you know Kelly, that's an achievement.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
That's a good movie theater, or it's a good theater.
Yeah, it's a good theater.
Renton Civic Theater, I believe, is the name of that.
Yep.
So,
At
and
the
we're
IKEA
doing that
Renton Theater,
again.
right?
We're doing that again this month, right?
December.
December. Okay. I have some trivia on this. Director Brian Usna got to direct this film by agreeing to direct Bride of Reanimator. Usna's only stipulation was that Society be filmed first.
Huh.
Writer Zeph E. Daniel came from a Beverly Hills family, much like that of Bill Whitney, and many of the characters depicted in the film are based upon real people Keith knew in Beverly Hills, although I imagine the shunting was not a real thing.
Hope not.
Yeah, hope not. Brian Usna claims he back-engineered the film's plot points based on special effects ideas or gimmicks, stating he was more interested in the surrealism of the story than the logic. This one I thought was kind of fun.
That is very true.
Yes. This is kind of fun. The hospital used for the exterior shots is the same hospital used in Halloween 2. Billy Warlock's father is Dick Warlock, who played the Shape in Halloween 2.
Oh, that's cool.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, that is.
Billy Warlock was hesitant to show his bare ass during his sex scene, as it was scripted. Luckily, the scene was scheduled late in production, and he was able to refuse the shot without being fired. He jokingly claimed he doesn't have a nice butt. Playboy playmate Devin DeVasquez said in an interview that she was used to posing nude on camera, but she had never filmed a sex scene before, so she was nervous about it. Then she found out that Billy Warlock, the other actor in the scene, was more uptight about it than she was. Here's something you guys should all know. In medicine, a shunt is a hole or small passage which moves or allows movement of fluid from one part of the body to another. The term may describe either congenital or acquired shunts, and acquired shunts, sometimes referred to iatrogenic shunts, may be either biological or mechanical.
We gotta stop talking about shunts, man.
One last thing.
One
While
last
shooting the infamous shunting scenes,
Oh my God.
Brian Usna would put a sign on the soundstage door that read, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter."
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, yeah.
My
It is
movie
a
was Society. I kind of liked it. I didn't love it.
Yeah. So definitely a singular movie in what it does at the end. It's fairly unique, and it's using
Yeah.
that is full weirdness.
Yeah. It's grotesque is the word I would use in the literal sense.
Yep. It was kind of fun watching Tony, Gwen, and Brian trying to talk about this movie before it and give nothing away because a surprising number of people had not seen it.
Yeah, that was shocking.
Interesting.
So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Enjoy.
I also have to say that I'm beating my 10 minutes, but I love our new buzzer sound, Eric. So that has really made me feel very good about my decision.
It doesn't hurt. Man, it still hasn't.
Yeah.
That's because I know how to do this, you guys. I know. Whoa.
No, there it is.
I know how to do it. So, all right.
There it is.
Vanessa.
Yeah.
I'm going to put 10 minutes on the board.
I hate this. Okay.
Okay, deep breath. Deep breath.
So, my movie is in 1988's Waxwork.
It's 11:45. Let's go.
Imagine, if you will, an exhibit in fear.
It looks a little spooky, boys. You think we should do this?
A place that appeals to your deepest and darkest fantasies.
Ooh, scary.
Your fascination with ghosts, monsters, and the many unearthly elements of the supernatural.
Welcome to the Waxwork.
Look,
Now this is killer.
enjoy,
Wow, the glasses from Nutty Zombies from Hell.
lose yourself in it.
Would you like a closer look?
Really?
But whatever you do, don't step over the rope.
Welcome, my dear. We thought you were too tired to join us.
All right, I'm hypnotized.
Hey, not so fast.
Relax. A cup of coffee. We'll talk about it.
I want out of here, Sarah. I'm serious.
Getting scared?
Do I get a pretty woman in my illusion? No. No, I get a dork.
It isn't real. Bravo!
What the hell did did you kill him for? He'd have been perfect!
Live, my children. Live.
Hit me! We still need 2 more!
Vestron Pictures welcomes you into a new dimension in terror. Waxwork.
This has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 60% from critics and 46% from audience. I was excited about it because I saw a poster for it on Amazon and it looked very thrilling. So it'd been on my list for a while and I was happy to finally get a chance to see it. It has a budget of $3.5 million, box office of 808,000. Yeah, exactly. Director, writer Anthony Hickox. Waxwork was his first, and then he went on to do Waxwork 2, Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, Payback, and Prince Valiant, among others. Starring Zach Galligan as Mark, who we would know from 77 other roles, including Billy in Gremlins and Gremlins 2. He also is uncredited boiler room patron getting stabbed with pool stick in Hellraiser 3. Deborah Foreman plays Sarah. She's been in 26 things, including Valley Girl, April Fool's Day, and Real Genius. David Warner plays the Waxwork Man. He's been in 227 things, including Tron, Mouth of Madness as Dr. Wren, and Star Trek VI as Chancellor Gorkin, and lots of British TV. And then we have John Rhys Davies as a singular role, the werewolf. We would know him from 267 things, with another 12 currently in production. You would know him as Gimli in Lord of the Rings. I know him as Professor Maximilian Arturo in Sliders. The story is glamorous LA suburbs. A rich kid is basically fed up of being treated by a child by his mother, like a child by his mother, and like a loser by the girl he likes. He's got a lot of money and he thinks he's really cool, but he seems to basically only be thought of as cool by his butler, who likes him very much. Then we cut to 2 girls walking down the street talking nonstop about guys in a very weird cutscene. And obviously that's all women want to talk about because they talk about them for a long time.
Scene. It's not a video game.
No. However, they then look over and see a giant manor that has this big, like, billboard kind of thing, like it's a giant banner hanging from it that says Waxwork, which is apparently this lame pastime that everyone ever has done as a kid. Oh yeah, another waxwork. Oh, that's really cool, guys. Like, I haven't seen 100 of them. I was like, who are you people? Where do you live that waxworking is like a thing y'all get into? A man suddenly appears out of thin air and invites them to a private showing that night at midnight before it's opened. One of the girls, China, is like super sassy and like, yeah, that sounds awesome. I'll be there. And it's sort of like she is being cool, but also making fun of him at the same time. He encourages her to go ahead and bring along 6 friends. So, of course, at college school, definitely not high school, even though they all have lockers and they hang out watching the football field at lunch. Really weird. She conveniently has 5 friends, 3 boys and 2 other girls who agree to go with her. So that seems obvious as soon as they all sit down together. That night they arrive, but it's so spooky that 2 of them peel off. When they get to the waxwork, they're introduced to the space by a very tall man and a very small man. They start to walk around and look at the exhibits, and it's sort of like a gruesome monster and then a victim. So it's really mesmerizing, really interesting, really macabre, and they're all kind of entranced. Tony, one of the guys, drops his lighter and wanders into a werewolf exhibit, and lo and behold, he's in a real werewolf setting with a real werewolf becoming a werewolf. And then, of course, has a tragic ending. Much like Tony, China sees this cool vampire scene. where she wanders in because she thinks the dude is hot and wants to go touch the waxwork, I guess. I am really like weirded out by these people. All the women are like, I gotta bang that waxwork. I'm like, what are you doing? Anyway, so she ends up in a vampire scene. And of course, there's a big table in front of her. And what should be upon the table but a dish of meat that is very raw and gravy that is just blood. And she is surrounded by vampires. So uh, these people start to go missing, and our lead character, Mark, is like, where's everybody? They left me. Pieces out and discovers the next day that, of course, his friends never got home. The rest of the film is all about him kind of trying to figure out what happened at the waxworks, getting other characters involved to try and discover the mystery. And of course, the waxwork owner himself, who has a bigger scheme at large involving maybe bringing characters back from the dead? Question mark. Don't know, from the other dimension. Anyway, this is an insane idea of a film that just is, you would never think like waxworks, but they're going to become real kind of, and alternative dimensions and stuff. But it's actually super fun in a lot of places. However, it also misses in a lot of places. There's just strange like moments where they keep leaving and coming back to the wax museum constantly. I'm like, what? I thought we were just going to be here for the movie. It's in the title. But no, they got to leave and come back a bunch. The opening is super brutal, where this guy's stuff gets stolen and then they throw his head in the fireplace and he burns, which is great because then the titles go over his burning head, but it has nothing to do with the rest of the film, as far as I know. I'm like, what was that? It's got these like moments where it's really, really funny depending on who's acting. So of course the teen actors suck. And most of them are god awful. And you're like, Tony, just die because I cannot handle you. But on the flip side, the other actors like John Rhys Davies, yes, is incredible. And he's such a great ham and he just owns the role. And he's like just becoming a werewolf. And he's like, watch out, get out of here. And like the kid's like, hey, ma'am, what's going on? I thought this was a party. And he's like, behold, I'm becoming a beast. And you're just watching these two very different levels of acting happening. So the moments where you're getting these people who are just going full ham, it's so much fun. In the vampire scene, you come across the guy who they're eating. They've taken part of his leg, and this girl, the girl is basically in the story. It's her fiance in this fake world. And he's like, love, come to me. Like, I must teach you how to fight off the vampires. And his leg is just missing. And like, he's giving her all these instructions and he's just kind of going with it. But occasionally somebody will like run into the room and like fall on his leg. And he's like, oh, the pain. And then he's like, get him, my love, get him. And it's just so well like balanced. But then other moments just not at all, like just very obvious jokes, jokes of the time about like things that are dirty, hairy jokes, like just random topical stuff that is really not aged well. So overall, I did really like it. I'm super glad I saw it. The actual creatures are really fucking good.
Yeah.
Really good. But they obviously don't have enough budget to kill anyone because that all happens off screen. So a little bit of trivia. The tagline is stop on by and give the afterlife a try. Beautiful. And more
bad.
fun than a barrel of mummies.
I kind of like that.
3 characters that were meant to be displayed in the waxwork, but were left off for legal reasons, included Jason Voorhees, 5 children from Village of the Damned, and The Thing.
Oh.
Wow.
Yes, they actually filmed it, but didn't or did they film? Anyways, they cut it out. The leads of some dialogue, so that leads basically some of the dialogue to literally make no sense. So it's supposed to be Friday the 13th, and the kid's like, whoa, like I can't believe like that's here. They made that movie, man. And instead they swapped that with Phantom of the Opera. And it's like, whoa, that's a movie, man. And it's like, yeah, yes, it is.
Technically,
and the guy's
yes.
like, wow, they made a movie out of that? Crazy. The writer director wrote this in 3 days.
Wow.
The missing
There you
kids poster for the flyers in the police HQ literally are the same missing posters from Lost Boys.
Okay.
Cool.
Kane Hodder had an uncredited role because he was doing stunts in this, and he also plays Frankenstein's monster.
Sure.
The human flesh being eaten was rhubarb, watermelon, and strawberries. It looks fucking gross.
Delicious.
Did a good job.
Yeah.
The vampire.
Now we'll never know about the vampire.
I'm going to just go anyway.
All right.
I'm nearly at the end.
Flaunting the rules.
I know. Sorry. The basement vampire segment, the crew said it was one of the bloodiest things they'd ever seen, and most of it ended up being cut by the MPAA. This is a bloody freaking thing.
Did it get inserted back in for home video?
There is a unrated version. I think I saw the rated version. I'm not totally sure. Bob Keane did the special effects. He spent 18 hours a day for 8 weeks working on the monsters for this film, and it shows, and he is a goddamn hero. And much like Kelly's trivia, the house front was the same as Willard and Witchboard. The house is still there, but the owner has grown a hedge around it to make it less visible and discourage waxwork fans from looking for photo ops.
I wonder how often waxwork fans are there. I do remember liking this movie quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think I like the second one even better.
I don't think I've seen this one. Doesn't sound.
It's fun.
It's fun. I would say it's like it's got the House 2 vibes to it,
Oh, nice.
but it's about half the level of House 2. But there's great moments. They're really fun. Anyway,
cool.
I can't cut into your time. I don't want to do that to you.
That's all.
Eric, are you ready?
Sure.
I'm putting 10 minutes on the board.
Alrighty. So we've got Nosferatu, the Vampire.
Ich lege keinen Wert mehr auf Sonnenschein und blitzende Fontänen, für die sich die Jugend begeistern mag. Ich liebe die Dunkelheit und die Schatten.
Jonathan, fahr nicht. Ich habe ein Gefühl.
Ach was.
Du wirst in Gefahr sein. Fahr nicht.
Er wird mein Essen. Ich muss heute noch zu Graf Draculas Schloss.
Der Fluch wird auf den Menschen lasten. Der Fluch des Vampirs Nosferatu.
Oh.
By Werner Herzog.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
From 1979. This one has
What a good year to make that movie.
Moving on. So Rotten Tomatoes has the critics at 95 and the crowd at 83.
Wow, that seems high.
Mhm.
The budget was 1.4 million, which seems
Whoa.
really low. The box office had listed, though, I don't know if this is accurate, but it was $2,874. Like,
Whoa.
Wow.
That's very specific.
rough. So directed by Werner Herzog. Movies you might know him from: Fitzcarraldo, Grizzly Man, My Best Fiend, Queen of the Desert. Which I don't know that one. He's the only feature film director to have made a film on every continent.
Oh.
He was invited to receive an honorary doctorate from Cambridge, which he refused because he believed he was not the man that could achieve that level of respectability.
Wow. That fucking Herzog.
I think I mentioned this on the other one I talked about him about, but he never uses storyboards. And he writes his screenplays in an average of 4 to 5 days.
Sure.
Yeesh.
He calls every gray head on his hair Kinski. Or Klaus Kinski.
Sure.
He also wrote this one. He writes most of his movies, and of course also gets a Bram Stoker credit. I'm sure he wasn't involved in the screenplay. So the first actor to list, of course, has got to be Klaus Kinski. 137 credits. Paganini, Vampire in Venice, which I've talked about on the show. Mark of the Tortoise, and he played Renfield in the 1970 Count Dracula with Christopher.
Oh my God, stop touching the
Yeah, right
whole
there.
situation over there.
Excuse me.
Oh my. He is notoriously impossible to work with. Turned down the role of the German villain in Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Although he wanted to do a movie with Spielberg, he thought the script was moronically shitty.
Wow. Tell us how you really feel.
He chose to appear in the movie Venom instead. Nice. Because the salary was better.
Sure.
He used to act on one-man productions on stage, which seemed a good idea considering no actors really ever wanted to work with him. And always chose films based on how long he had to shoot them and how much he'd get paid. Like, all right, at least he's honest.
Especially after some of the Herzog productions he's in.
Yeah. Another actor is Isabelle Adjani, who is in Possession, which is a tour de force performance by her. Subway, Sisters, and the last horror film in 1982. So I don't know what the hell else we're talking about after that. Bruno Ganz, who's 127 credits, including the recent The House That Jack Built, The Boys from Brazil. He was offered the leading role in Pretty Woman, but turned that one down.
As the pretty woman?
No, as the
Richard Gere
role. So the movie opens up with kind of this very disturbing shots of mummified corpses in a row. The real mummified corpses. We'll get back to that more in the notes, but it runs for like 2 minutes of the opening movie. And it goes into a weird kind of nightmare dream sequence, which is a bunch of kittens playing. And I'm figuring this is a Herzog film, so I'm supposed these are all going to be dead by the end of the movie. But thankfully, they never come back. The acting is, of course, incredibly dramatic. The music at times seems really romantic, at least for the beginning, almost pushing the drama into like melodrama territory, just so over the top. But fun little scene when Harper's going to Dracula's castle, when he says where he's going. The reaction in the restaurant is almost comical. It's kind of like, what? Oh, the inn owner though is worried about him, so she gives him a rosary and a big book about vampires. Like, oh, thank you.
Handy.
That's right. Of course, the movie's gorgeous. Shot by Jorg Schmidt-Rittwein, Heart of Glass. He also did 84 other things. He's got some great credits. Heart of Glass was the other Herzog film I talked about. A great, fun little scene where Harker's trying to hire a carriage, and the guy's standing next to his carriage, brushing his horses, and the guy's like, I have no carriage. Can I buy a horse? I have no horses. And luckily, Harker immediately goes, yeah, okay, I got what you're going, and starts to walk. And he does this beautiful walk through amazing waterfalls and forestry with a nice metal barrier on the side of the waterfall so he doesn't fall in.
Nice.
Very of the time period, I'm sure. And of course, he eventually gets picked up by Dracula's carriage, which in this film actually isn't Dracula. He has a carriage driver.
Yeah.
So it's a little different. Klaus as Dracula is awesome.
Yeah.
He is intense. And he's Nosferatu style. He looks like the creature from the Nosferatu film. The opening scene of him is really reminiscent of Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now, where it's kind of like almost all dark, but his face, and he's delivering his lines, and you're like, can I go now? I think it'd be what I'd be thinking if I was Herzog there, or Harker there. Lots of homages to the original, including that really cool little skeleton clock, which longtime listeners will note that when Kelly asked what prop I'd take from any movie, it would have been that little clock from the original Nosferatu.
Sure.
The Renfield character is kind of annoying. With the giggle worked better in the silent movie version. Dude giggles a lot. It's like, stop, man. The boat, when he travels, is incredibly well done, dreamlike and strange. Unfortunately, drone use has kind of ruined the drama of a helicopter shot. Because there's this big dramatic helicopter shot, which, in 1979, that's a major expense and a really cool shot. Now it's a $500 drone flying around, which, is great for low budget stuff. When he carries his coffin, it's kind of dark and strange and creepy. And this one, it almost looks a little silly because he's carrying it in such a way that it's like, balsa wood, I can tell. The Count's introduction to Lucy is wonderfully creepy. She handles it well with a fantastic speech, obviously rendered by Herzog, about death. And it's dark and grim. And her line of faith is the way we can believe things we know are not true. The around the table scene in this film is not a pleasant one at all. It's a group of people. The entire city has been ravaged by the plague. Most of the city is dead. There's coffins everywhere. They're sitting at this table kind of as this is our last meal, sort of, with hundreds of rats all around the bottom of the table, all around the background. And it's just uncomfortable. The second half of the movie is Lucy being a total badass. She takes over this film. The character is completely rewritten. Harker is gone. He has nothing to do with it. There is no, she's pretty much it as far as going against Dracula in this film. And she does a great job. She's really, really solid performer. So it is artsy. It's interesting. It's one of Herzog's more Herzog-y movies. It's really, really grim. But notes on this one. Klaus Kinski spent approximately 4 hours per day in makeup because the ears, when taken off, would have to be destroyed.
Oh.
So they had to rebuild those ears every time. And going way against character, he was completely fine with this, had a great relationship with the makeup artist, and accepted it because he knew for this role he had to have a certain look.
Huh.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, that's kind of astounding. While on the other hand, Werner Herzog, in order to get the performances he wanted out of Klowski, used a trick he found on Aguirre, The Wrath of God, where he would piss off Klaus so bad that he would go on a rampaging, raging riot of anger and then would be too exhausted to do anything other than the kind of performance that Herzog wanted him to do.
Oh, Eric, how did that happen?
I just don't know. Boy, the stuff about the mummies at the beginning is kind of interesting.
Let's hear it.
I would like to hear it.
It's kind of sick. They're real. He discovered they existed a few years before, and it's naturally mummified bodies from an 1833 cholera epidemic. And he takes them out of the glass cases they're normally displayed in and put them in near as he could tell chronological age.
Oh my God.
And then shot that.
Did he put them back
in
order?
Not in the right boxes.
Yeah, it's like, oh shit.
Jeez.
This one's a little small. Just shove it in here.
That's fucking.
And the man handling the rats was so pissed at the way the rats were handled that he quit the movie.
Oh no!
So
did he leave the rats?
Got a little trouble in that. But let's see. The crew only had 16 people. Anything else? Oh, one other interesting thing is the English version of this is also original. They shot both German and English at the same time.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I'm like, well, see what the English is like just because, and probably, knowing me, slipped the subtitles. Nope, it's perfectly good because most of these people speak English as well. So it worked really well.
I'm shocked that they had time to do that. That
At
feels like such a
point,
luxury.
Whatever budget they were shooting at.
Yeah.
First time I saw this was in the 90s. The Seattle Art Museum was showing it at a midnight show with Werner doing a Q&A afterwards.
Whoa.
And I had just started dating this really sweet girl who obviously had a huge crush on me because I said, "Do you want to go see a midnight showing of a German film?" And she was like, "I sure do." And then, just like happens at every midnight showing, about 14 minutes into the film, I'm asleep, sawing logs loudly. She stayed and watched the entire movie. I was awakened by the applause at the end, and then I was like, "All right, you ready to go? You don't want to hang out for the Q&A?" I was like, "I am exhausted."
Oh no. That sounds like an
bad.
awful date.
Well, that's all I can say to that. Well, I remember waking up a couple of times through it and trying to kind of shift position and everything. Look, I am not a night owl. I am a morning person, unfortunately. So,
I don't know what
And
that's like.
that's not a movie that's gonna keep you awake.
No.
it's quite slow.
It's not Rocky Horror Picture Show with musical numbers and
No.
stuff to get you going. It's just like, whoa.
Eric, I believe you have the next subgenre.
Oh, I do. Yes, I do.
Ooh.
So we're going to go with the continuing with the Thanksgiving theme. We're going with one of the first families of horror, Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies.
I love it. I couldn't love it more if it were
This is
my own idea.
Exactly.
If only.
Okay, so then that means we are towards the end of the show. We are at the point where I thank everybody for liking and sharing posts.
I have a fun post to share from somebody like Badger.
Oh,
on
yeah, from
Listed
YouTube.
a great little story about the Raven, where he was a kid at a overnight thing, slumber party camp thing, and they had a 16 millimeter projector with movies. And he's the only one who said, "Oh, I can run one." And since nobody seemed relatively interested, he actually played the Raven over and over and over again, watching it. And found out there's an interesting bit of trivia from that he likes is that Peter Lorre, and one of the scenes when they're all walking along, stumbles a tiny little bit. So all the attention is drawn to him. And when Roger Corman was editing, he went back and Lorre did it in every take.
Yeah.
So he had to do it. So Badger, who is a background actor, does a lot of extra work and stuff in LA, has adopted that. If he gets in the background of stuff, he'll try to do some kind of a little movement or something that'll pull your eye to him, like he has in, I think which films he did that in, but he's, check out our YouTube page. It's a really long, great note describing what went on and how he does his lauraling to get people to notice him in the background, which I think is a fun idea.
That's really smart.
I love that. And I love that we've got people watching us on YouTube, or at least watching the
listening
audio version.
Watching those, are there waveforms still, or is it just a static image?
That's just the image. Changes to the poster when the trailers are running.
That's nice.
Yeah. Plus, you can, if you're wondering where a movie you might find, I'll put that info while you're talking about whatever movie. The where you can find it will be listed on the YouTube.
That's so cool.
Very nice. I appreciate you doing all that work, Eric. I also appreciate everybody who has participated in the value for value system, which is if you've got, if you're getting a value out of this show, turn around and give some value back, whether that's in the form of money or liking, sharing posts, or reaching out and giving us content. We really appreciate all of that. Eric, wow. You're like Rick with his crossed fingers over here.
I just remembered that I had to mention we got some nice pizza purchases from Mike Davis.
Oh.
Who I know you know quite well.
Mike Davis from the Lovecraft E-Zine. Thank you very much, Mike.
And Timothy Rutt.
I don't know Timothy, but do you
Is
know
Vanessa
Timothy?
No,
Timothy?
but
All
that's
right.
exciting.
And if I know you, Timothy, but I'm not recognized, I'm very sorry. Please let me know why I'm an idiot, or these other two are idiots if you do know us. And if you just listen to us because you like the show, damn, thank you, man.
That's awesome.
That is so nice.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, that is the end of the show. That means we'll be back in 7 short days, and we are talking Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies.
Transportation and other considerations for Strange Eons Radio, produced by Pan Am Airlines. When you think of traveling, think of Pan Am. You can't beat the experience. Guests of Strange Eons Radio stay at Econo Lodge Everett. It's an easy stop on the road, you know what we mean. Strange Eons Radio is recorded live in front of a studio audience. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a positive review on your favorite podcast app. Sit, Ubu, sit.
253-237-4266.
Two of us just can't fight this feeling any longer. Wait, that's REO Speedway. Never mind.